What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka Descendant of Chaos and Controversy, and here I am with another video to talk about something that I know that's probably gonna get some backlash. But ask me if I care, cause I really don't. Because the info that I'm gonna drop to bring awareness and make people take a step back and think, damn. Um, in previous videos, I was asked and I've answered the question: did I support the Black Lives Matter movement? The movement, yes. The organization, no. And I was very vague about it. I gave a few reasons, just to throw people a bone or two, just to satisfy the craving and have something to nibble and gnaw on as food for thought. But in actuality, looking over some things and actually coming to the realization of something. Hold on a second. To further elaborate why I don't support the Black Lives Matter organization, is because they only exist out of convenience. And I say they exist only out of convenience because they only make their mark whenever there's a tragedy in which they can gain momentum and profit and exposure and, and and capitalizing on the moment, you know. And for a movement, I believe that if you have a if Black Lives Matter, it shouldn't only matter if that's the slogan that you're going to support. Don't half-ass it. Don't only support a slogan if it has a partial meaning. And what I mean by that is that don't only support it out of convenience if it's only there to put the spotlight on Black Lives Mattering only when it involves the police. Because there are other areas in which Black Lives Matter matters, in which black people are affected. Um, some of the examples that I pointed out is that there are still lynchings that are being taken place that the police don't take serious and that they immediately rule it out as suicide. There are young kids that are coming up missing. And I'm not just saying that it only applies to black folks, because there are many kids that go missing of all races. But if you're speaking for your people, speak up. Um, Organ harvesting, I spoke on that. Other people have spoke on that, where there are black people found chopped and cut the fuck up with organs missing from their bodies, unexplained. But we know about the black market. We're not stupid. Um, and what about the representation for black people that need legal counseling, that is only convenience when you have Ben Crump that comes out when he stands to gain something. If he knows that there's a lawsuit and he's a civil rights lawyer, it's like boom, there he is. Conveniently pops up. Ah, we got a case. Involves the police, wrong shooting, wrong cause of death. Boom, he's there. But what about in other cases? Okay, we got a pandemic that's going on, right? You got many of black people that are hit and are affected. Businesses are closing. Evictions are taking place. People, from landlords to tenants, are being evicted out of their homes and stuff. Landlords can't pay their rent. Tenants can't pay the landlord, so the landlord can pay the rent or the mortgage on the buildings and stuff like that. Where do Black Lives Matter in those scenarios? And people say, well, Tony, they exist. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. And here's the case. Okay, so everybody was talking about the politics, the politicians, and how they don't give a fuck about Americans and this and this and that and stuff, and how bitch McConnell and Pelosi, Kukolski, or whatever the fuck her name is, whatever, they were opportunists, and they passed a 908 billion stimulus, whatever, for $600 stimulus, and 300 added to the unemployment and an extension in unemployment, and some of that money went to it, and other money got advocated and tallied and allocated elsewhere. Okay, so that's for all Americans, right? That's for all Americans here in this country. Okay, so it's $908 billion that was to be dispersed to help Americans out for the pandemic. Now, for what I looked up, the Black Lives Matter organization between May 2020 to December 2020 has generated through donations $10.6 billion, not million, $billion to the organization. How is that money being used to help better black people? See, people exploit us, but they don't like to be exploited. They don't like to be called out for the actual reality of things. And they hope that people are just blinded by emotion, that they don't stop, assess the situation for what it is, and pay attention to detail, open their eyes, and become aware of what the fuck is actually taking place. You got billions of dollars that was funded to an organization that don't help black people out worth a fuck. They only help themselves. That's why I say sometimes you gotta be careful who you support, because who you support don't support you. And people might get pissed off at what I'm saying, but tell me where I'm at fault for what I'm saying. Tell me how I'm wrong. Explain to me how I'm wrong. Because just as Americans are pissed off with the government, pissed off with the politicians, when you see how everybody else is getting treated in other countries and stuff when it comes to this pandemic, and how there was no negotiations taking place, it was like, no, we're taking our care of people, no questions asked. This is what needs to be done, especially during the pandemic. We can't play with our people's lives. But with these rich motherfuckers sitting up on their pedestal and stuff, who don't know what it's like to be poor, and they are privileged because of the position that they're in, thanks to us, how soon they forget, they get to dictate to us how we live. Now, black people love to complain about, this, that, and everything else, but look at the people who exploit you. You quick to want to sit there and point the finger at white people all the time or blame them for everything, but you give other people a pass. You give other people a pass. Matter of fact, you give your own so-called people a fucking pass. And they ain't doing shit for you. $10.6 billion donated to Black Lives Matter. And what does Black Lives Matter do for black people? Are they helping the black businesses out that got burnt during that and tore down during the protests by Antifa and all them other infiltrated sleeper cells? No. Or is Black Lives Matter helping black people out so they don't be homeless? So that they can't pay their rent, pay their utilities, feed their kids? I mean, if I'm wrong, prove to me that I'm wrong. Because in the news, all I'm seeing is people suffering. And if black people are being the scapegoat as the poster child of poverty, then where's Black Lives Matter to come save the day? Nah, because they're in it for themselves. I mean, there's nothing in the news. There's nothing that's being posted to say, hey, you know what? Black Lives Matter stepped up. They've raised this amount of money. Now they're putting it back in the community to help, prevent homelessness, to prevent, this, that, and the other or whatever. I don't see none of that. All of a sudden, Black Lives Matter. Which way did they go, George? Which way did they go? Which way? Where they at? Gone in the wind. I speak on this because people fall for bullshit all the time. They get taken for granted and they get taken for a hustle. I don't know. And I'm just saying, it's just like we have to do better, and we have to acknowledge shit for what it is, because people like to play us like a fiddle, and they are opportunists at our expense. I mean, like I said, the black community is divided. There's really no help. But you got a lot of people that are capable and in the position to do more than just sit on their ass and help out the community. If we are but a particular percentage of people, there should be no reason why we are in the position that we are in. But I understand, crabs in the barrel. People are out for self. They're not out to help. And this is the problem. When people want to sit there and complain and bitch about, where we are at. Yeah, it's easy to fucking point the finger and stuff, but make sure you pointing at the right people. Because we black people are good for always want to say it's the white man's fault, it's the white man's fault, it's the white man's fault. But what about the people that are in a position to help their people that don't? But they take advantage of their people so they can get ahead and forget about their people. People get pissed when examples are used, when you look at other groups or other races, how they as a group of people bring each other up. They combine, they utilize their money and uplift their people. From the Jewish community to the Indian community to the Chinese community. In some cases, in the Indian community. Why can't we do that? What is our excuse? So when people want to sit there and bitch and complain and want to point the finger and say this and this and that, ask the question, why are we in the position that we are in? With all these people of great influence that we look up to. These organizations that exist that help themselves but ain't there to help you out. Don't be mad at me because I made a point that people just chose to ignore. Anyway, until next time, until next video, please like, share, and subscribe. Peace.